So are you planning to apply for a supply chain job anytime soon? Well, if that's the case, watch this video till the end because I will share with you 5 questions which are almost guaranteed to come on any supply chain interview around the world. My name is Jamil Hai and I've been working in supply chain management positions across South Asia, Middle East and North America for the last 20 years. And my mission is to help you build real life skills for your job and career that they don't teach you in college. And before we proceed, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you can benefit like many others from the content that I post weekly on my channel. So let's find out what those 5 questions are. The first question is, tell me about a time or give me an example when you had a difficult problem to solve and how did you solve it? Now, problem solving is the most important skill in supply chain. I cannot stress enough on it. I've made a lot of videos about problem solving that you can watch on my channel. But why is problem solving so important? Because supply chain is all about problem solving. And the challenge with supply chain jobs is that you cannot predict the type of problem you are going to face the next day, because every single day there could be a new challenge, because there are so many different moving parts in the supply chain. You could have a problem with a supplier, you could have a problem with a ship breaking down or getting somewhere stuck in the Suez Canal or things like that, or you could have an issue in your warehouse, or you could have a forecasting or a planning issue. So because there are so many different variables involved in supply chain management, the nature of the problems could be very, very different. So while it's very difficult to predict the type of problem you are going to solve, however, what you could do is build that problem solving ability. So regardless of the type of problem you face, if you know the problem solving approach or you know how to solve problems and you have built experience with that, then you are a very good fit for any supply chain job. So because this is a tell me about a type of a question, and I've covered these type of behavioral questions a lot in my other videos, which I can put the link over here and you can watch them. The best model to use for these type of questions is the STAR model or the CAR model, and I've stressed upon the importance of this model many, many times. So I strongly recommend you watch those videos and understand what the STAR model or the CAR model is all about and apply that model to come up with your problem solving example to answer this question. The next question, which is pretty common in supply chain interviews, is what is your experience with supply chain software? Now, depending on the type of job you're applying for, the question may hover around a different group of software. So the 3 groups I could give you as an example here is that you could be applying for a supply chain planning role. So in that case, they might be asking you questions around planning software. So you maybe ask questions about SAP APO or Blue Yonder or Oracle. Similarly, if you are applying for a warehouse manager or warehouse management related job, you may be asked questions around WMS management, right? So what kind of warehouse management systems do you have experience with? So common warehouse management systems that are used around the world are Red Prairie by Blue Yonder or Manhattan, Oracle Fusion. Similarly, if you're applying for a transportation management job, then you might be asked questions around Uber Freight or SAP TM, which is the SAP's version of transportation management system, or Oracle TM, which is the Oracle version. So having experience around these different software is very important. And if you have worked in any of these areas in supply chain, you would have definitely gotten some hands-on or hands-off experience where you could speak to some of these software. So a very good tip here is that if you are applying for a job at a company, try to find ahead of time which software are they using in your field of expertise. So if you are applying for a transportation management job, find out what TMS are they using, or if you are applying for a warehouse management job, then try to find out which WMS they are using, or if you are applying for a planning job, try to find out which planning system they are using, because having the know-how of what system they are using and what system you have used in the past might help you to answer some of the tricky questions that might come around this technical area. The third very commonly asked question in supply chain job interviews is, tell me about a time when you had to manage a tough customer. So why is this question so common? Because a lot of roles in supply chain are customer facing roles, especially if you are working as a customer service coordinator or a customer service manager, then most likely you will be facing customers on a day-to-day basis. You might be working directly with Amazon or Walmart or Carrefour or Costco. So having the experience to manage tough customers is a very strong experience that a lot of companies look for, because a lot of times customers will give you a very hard time because they are looking for very good service and sometimes you're not able to deliver that. So you can get into a lot of tough conversations with the customer. So this question is specifically focused around how do you manage those kind of situations. So you need to think of a star story or a car story where you had to deal with a tough customer, and how did you work towards making sure that you at the end of the day did not spoil your relationships with that customer, but at the same time you work with them to improve their service consistently. The fourth commonly asked question in supply chain job interviews is, tell me about a time when you had to manage a conflict with a teammate. Because in supply chain you are working on problem solving on a day-to-day basis, you are not solving those problems alone most of the time. You are working with other people. And when you work with other people, and especially when you are constantly in that troubleshooting mode, then you will definitely have conflict. It's almost impossible for you not to have conflicts with people in supply chain. And that's why it's such an important question for supply chain job interviews, because the recruiter wants to find out, how do you manage conflicts? How do you manage those tough conversations with your teammates, and how do you get them on board with yourself? Are you someone who just escalates those kind of situations and let your managers deal with it, or you have the ability to conflict manage on your own? And that's a very, very important capability that any supply chain manager would look for within his team. And the last commonly asked question in supply chain job interviews is, tell me about a time when you had to work with a group of people to achieve something. Why is this very important? Because mostly in supply chains, if you have to get something done, you have to work with people. You cannot be a solo showman or someone who will just do everything by himself or herself. It's very important that you are able to collaborate, and you are able to collaborate with an objective to achieve something in supply chain. So therefore, what the recruiter wants to see by asking this question is that, what's your ability to work with people? What's your ability to collaborate? How did you, in a specific case, improve a KPI or deliver a project, and what was the role of collaboration in all of that? So, and that's why this question is slightly different from the question that we talked about on conflict management, because conflict management is when you have a conflict with someone, right? So that's where the recruiter wants to see your emotional ability to manage through those kind of situations. But in this case, they are specifically talking about your ability to collaborate and your ability to work as a part of a team. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe. And I've also made videos on job interview questions like, what is your biggest achievement, or what motivates you, which you can watch by clicking over here. Keep watching.